afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Rhea Hopper, and it is again my extreme pleasure to preside on this wonderful occasion, the 6th annual Petersburg High School Hall of Fame banquet. I have gained respect for many things during this unprecedented past year, and I have become very much aware of the importance of interacting socially with my family and community without barriers. Because of this realization, it makes this moment especially glorious. I am still trying to grasp the concept social distance. Who came up with that idea that you can be social and distant at the same time? Also, as a retired principal, I applaud the present educators who have had to master virtual learning. I am sure that parents now have a new appreciation of the hard work of our superintendent, Dr. Petrie Martin, our principal, Ms. Alicia Fields, administrators, teachers, and staff, and Mr. Hal Miles, board member. Additionally, I have gained respect for essential workers and frontline heroes who unselfishly have served us all, just like the unselfish efforts of the present champions. We assemble here this afternoon to honor our champions of the past. They exemplify hard work, dedication, self-respect, motivation, and they never gave up. We celebrate and honor these athletes and our contributors who were outstanding in their sport, and they were dedicated to their teams. Thank you, honorees, for your impressive representation of Peabody and Petersburg High School. A few weeks ago, the person I am about to introduce stated a quote that resonated with me. He said, "Work hard in silence and let success make the noise." In that moment, he didn't realize that he was talking about himself. Just like his father, Coach Lawson, Bill Lawson is in the background, moving in silence to ensure success. This Hall of Fame was a vision that he had, and he has worked and collaborated with many to make his vision a reality. I am grateful to be able to work with a person who cares so much about our community, our schools, and our children. He does not do this for accolades. He does everything he can to help because he sincerely loves having a positive impact on others. Although he doesn't do any of this to be in the spotlight, I want him to know that we value his leadership, hard work, dedication, commitment to the Crimson Wave, and his ability to continuously believe in our community when so many others doubt us. Just like his father, at times, Bill is a man of few words, but this man is full of action, and when he speaks, it is worth listening to. Please join me in thanking William Lawson III, also known as Bill, as he will give the purpose of this afternoon's event.
Good afternoon. I would like to give the purpose and history of this event. It has been 6 years that we have inducted past players, coaches, contributors into the Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame. We started working on developing this criteria for the Hall of Fame 8 years ago. One of the committee members that helped put the Hall of Fame together was the late Wirt Smith Sr. He was a 1963 Petersburg High School graduate, and in 2017, he became a Hall of Fame inductee. He passed away 4 years ago, but because of his contributions to the Athletic Hall of Fame, Petersburg Athletics, and the city of Petersburg, which he was very dedicated to, we have been very fortunate to continue the efforts of recognizing the greats of Petersburg. This has been and will continue to be a great way of recognizing the heroes that have come from Petersburg and have moved on to the next level in the areas of athletics. As we recognize the former athletes, coaches, and contributors, we are able to learn the history of athletics here in Petersburg. It is great to see those that have excelled in sports and have moved on to their own endeavors. But they will always represent Petersburg, no matter where they have moved on to. As we continue to recognize the Petersburg history in athletics, we look to receive applications yearly for consideration of recognition, and applications can be found in your programs, and they are also available at Petersburg High School in the main office. Again, thank you for continuing to represent the city of Petersburg through your athletic experiences.
It is my esteemed honor and pleasure to introduce a Petersburg native and servant leader of our city. She is the epitome of strong leadership, impactful leadership, and being a leader dedicated to making a difference in the lives of others. Vanessa received a degree in social work from Virginia Commonwealth University. Right after college, Vanessa became a social worker at Central State Hospital for 4 years before getting a job as a counselor in the Department of Corrections. From there, she climbed the corporate ladder into a position as running the all-male facility, being the first female to do so. At the all-male facility, she implemented a general educational diplomacy program in the jails and helped over 40 inmates receive their GEDs. She also developed a re-entry program for inmates. From 2014 through 2017, Vanessa would then be the only African-American female sheriff in the United States. She is serious about transforming our city to be better. To add to her many accolades, she was just awarded Remarkable Woman in Central Virginia for her continued efforts towards the betterment of the city. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please welcome the Honorable Sheriff Vanessa Crawford. I think I'll take Rita everywhere I go to speak. Giving all honor to God, who is truly the head of my life, to our honorees, their families, and to all of you gathered here today, good evening. I have the distinct honor of welcoming you to our 6th annual Hall of Fame banquet and of recognizing our elected and appointed officials. I would ask that they stand as I call their names, and please hold your applause until everyone has been recognized. The Honorable Harold Niles, Petersburg School Board. Dr. Petrie Martin, Petersburg Public School Superintendent. Ms. Alicia Fields, Principal of Petersburg High School. And I'm not sure if we have any other elected or appointed officials with us. If so, please stand and let us know your names. If not, let's give them a hand. This journey started a few years ago with just a thought, a dream by Mr. Bill Lawson III, as you heard. And because of his determination and pulling several people from the community together, we are gathered once again. And he continued to persevere as we moved past a year where none of us could do anything. This evening, we will be celebrating extraordinary men who have made significant contributions to athletics, whether through playing or coaching at Petersburg High School and Peabody High School. Each has helped to raise the standards and level of professionalism and competition while inspiring and mentoring future generations and laying the groundwork that encourages us all to strive for excellence. Present here tonight are moms, dads, brothers, sisters, teammates, coaches, and alumni, and Wade fans, all waiting to hear from those selected as PHS heroes this evening. Our desire is that everyone will enjoy this celebration as we gather to recognize these individuals. And remember, ability is what you're capable of doing. Motivation determines what you do, and attitude determines how well you do it. So with that, again, I welcome you, I thank you, and I ask that you open your ears and hearts as you listen to the stories of these Wade greats as they receive their honors. And again, have a wonderful evening.
At this time, I would like to introduce to you our Master of Ceremonies, Sean Robertson. Sean was born and raised in Petersburg, Virginia, and he attended Virginia State University and graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree in English Mass Communication in May of 1999. During that time, Sean became the sports editor of the Virginia Statesman at Virginia State University. He also worked at the radio station there, WVST, eventually becoming their sports director in 2001. Sean was the sports director for over 7 years and won 4 CIAA Broadcaster of the Year awards. Sean also worked with the Richmond Braves during their final 2 years in Richmond, their Governor's Cup championship run in 2007. Sean left VSU in the summer of 2008 to become the weekend sports anchor at WTVR CBS Channel 6. Sean was also the voice of Petersburg Generals Summer Collegiate Baseball team. Ladies and gentlemen, Sean Robertson.
Thank you, Ms. Harper. Good evening, everybody. It is my honor and privilege to be the MC for this wonderful occasion for the 6th time. As Ms. Harper indicated, I think COVID this year kind of taught us to appreciate things a little bit more, and I think last year not having this event made me appreciate it a little bit more. The stories, the smiles, the laughter that we all got a chance to hear from our honorees of the past and these honorees that we will hear from in just a few minutes. So right now we're going to get started with our ceremony, and I want to introduce our first inductee this evening into the Petersburg Athletics Hall of Fame. He is one of 3 football players in this year's class who achieved a historic first in the city and then eventually achieved a first once he went to college, Mr. Alan Brown III. Allen is a member of the Petersburg High School class of 1976. He not only played football at PHS and Peabody Junior High, but was a pretty good basketball player and track star. After he led the Lions football team to an undefeated season in his 8th grade year, Brown tried out for the Petersburg varsity team while still at Peabody as a 9th grader, something that had never happened by any JV football player in the area. And of course, he wound up making the team. In 1974, the Crimson Wave team won the Central District behind the strong quarterback play of Allen, who would garner the attention of several Division I programs such as North Carolina, Michigan State, and Virginia Tech. During his senior season of 1975, Brown once again led Petersburg to a district championship. That winter, he became the first black to sign and receive a full scholarship to play quarterback at Virginia Tech. During the 1974-75 season, Brown became the answer to a trivia question here in Petersburg, as he was the starting center of the basketball team. The same position that was held by someone you probably heard of, had a decent NBA basketball career, top 50 player all time, Moses Malone. It's been often said you don't want to be the guy that follows the guy, but Brown met that challenge. He was a second-team All-Tri-City by the Progress Index during his junior year, which was his first full year in varsity. His senior numbers increased across the board. Almost 14 points per night, 15 rebounds a night, along with 3 blocks, which also earned him second-team All-Tri-City by the Progress Index. He also found time to anchor the 880 relay track team after his final season in basketball. Brown was a part of that team that finished first in the Central District Championships. He was placed second in the 100-yard dash, 1/10 of a second from first, and was third in the 220-yard dash among the 9 district schools in 1976. Brown was named Best Athlete that year by the Petersburg School Board and by the Petersburg Optimist Club. They gave him their own award in the category of athletics. During his career at Peabody and Petersburg High, Brown won 11 letters, which is believed to be one of the highest amounts by one athlete in Petersburg in 44 years. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member of the Petersburg Athletics Hall of Fame, Allen Brown III.
No one, after 40 plus years, expects to get an award like this. For me, this is pretty overwhelming. This is not the type of award that you actually go after. It's something really unexpected. In 2017, my cousin Margaret came to me and she said, I want to nominate you for the Hall of Fame. And I didn't even know that there was a Hall of Fame. And I dismissed her. And she came back in 2018. And she said, I want to nominate you for the Hall of Fame. And I still didn't take you seriously. In 2019, she came back again, a little angry at me, and she said, you have done so much. I want to nominate you for the Hall of Fame. So I went through my boxes of items. I gave her all of my stuff. I was really surprised when I dug through the boxes to find all the awards, all the accolades, and that I had done so much. And I said, well, maybe it's a good idea that I turn all this over to her. So I did, and she submitted. And I was absolutely floored when the letter came back from Director Lawson that I was nominated, that it was becoming a part of the class of 2020 Athletic Hall of Fame. I joke around with Wallace about the Hall of Fame. He and I both saying, well, hey, when we're dead and gone, at least there'll be a plaque somewhere with our names on it, saying we did something. This award for me is a very special award because as a young kid, you really don't realize what you're doing when you're being consistent and faithful and respectful, playing your sport the way it should be played, showing up for practice every day. My schedule basically, and George will attest to this, because George was on my 1974 football team and 1975 football team. And George is also on my basketball team at Peabody High School in the 8th grade. So we have a long track record together. But he will attest to it. We would start practice in August in football season in roughly the first or second week in November. Then I would leave the football field and go to play basketball that Monday. And then that season would run all the way to almost March. And then I had Norman Jenkins coming to me saying, well, I want you to play first base on the baseball team. And I said, I need some time off. I can't do anything. So I waited till my senior year to actually run track. So for me to look back at the 11 letters of all the practices and all the games for 5 consecutive years, really not thinking that was anything at all, and to come into the Hall of Fame and seeing other people appreciate that, it's mind-blowing to me. A few last words. When I went places, whether it was at a barber, go to the men's clothing store, or I was out in public, people would come up to me and they would say, and I really never thought of myself as being anyone. Don't think of myself really being anyone now, but they would come up to me and say, aren't you Alvin Brown? And I said, yeah, I think I am. And they would say, wow, you was a heck of an athlete. And I mean, this went everywhere I went. I went to the YMCA one day and I saw this kid. And this kid said, you're Alvin Brown. And I said, yeah, well, I'm Alvin Brown. And he would say, well, when I was growing up, I was you. When I played ball, I was you. I picked you. You were the quarterback at Petersburg High School that I wanted to play like. It began to dawn on me the impact that you can actually have on young people, on your school, on your community, if you do it right. If you absolutely do it right. To end, I just want to make one comment about this award. John Wooden, the great coach from the University of Southern California at Los Angeles, said, don't measure your success by what you've accomplished, but instead by what you have accomplished with the ability that you have. What you have accomplished with the ability that you have. Take the ability that you have and use that ability. When Moses Malone graduated and they had won 50 straight games and everybody, those teams in the Central District were chopping at the bit to come in Petersburg because they had lost every game for 2 years. You know, here Moses was 6'11", averaging 30 points a game, 25 rebounds a game, consensus All-American. And here comes a little kid like me to play his position, to average only 14 points a game, 15 rebounds a game. But those 14 points a game, those 15 rebounds a game, those 14 points a game was the ability that I could give to propel us to win every time we stepped out on the floor. I appreciate the support. Thank you so much. God bless.
have to mention about a housekeeping note. Everybody who is in here tonight should have received this Petersburg High Athletics Hall of Fame or Petersburg Athletic Hall of Fame dinner ticket. If you did, after the ceremony is over with, we'll have a hostess, will come in, will escort you to the back and lead you to where you will receive your dinner this evening. So everybody will get something to eat tonight. The inductees as well. That's always the highlight, is the meal. The Petersburg Athletics Hall of Fame have honorees that represent several different sports, from basketball to track, and in 2019, our last ceremony, we inducted our first swimmer. This year's class has 2 athletes that excelled in golf that until now did not produce a member into our Hall of Fame until this year. The first one we will introduce is the late Danny Fisher Sr. Danny was a member of the Petersburg class of 1967. His interest of golf began at an early age when his father would take him to 2 of the area golf courses, Brickwood and Lee Park, which is now known as Dogwood Trace. Danny never had professional lessons. He practiced on his own. Those skills became apparent when he won the Bowling Junior High School Golf Tournament in 1962 and 1963. He joined the Petersburg High School golf team under head coach Bob Budlove during his freshman year of 1964, playing in the 4th position. That group would win the Central District title. As one of the top 4 players on that team, Fisher competed in the state tournament that year, and the Crimson Wave finished 8th out of 25 schools. The next season, Danny moved up to 2nd on the team and once again qualified for the state tournament as one of the top 4 players. Petersburg finished 6th out of 25 schools. In 1966, Danny made it to the number 1 seed on the team, the first of several accomplishments that season. One of the big highlights was when Petersburg defeated a Meadowbrook team that was led by 2 future pro golfers, Bobby and Lanny Watkins. In fact, Danny got an individual win over Lanny, who would go on to win 21 PGA championships, to include the 1977 PGA Championship, was a part of 8 Ryder Cup teams, and is a member of 3 different Hall of Fames, which include the World Golf Hall of Fame. Danny finished his high school career as the number 1 player in 1967, and Coach Budlove rated Danny as the best individual golfer he's ever coached in his 30-year career. Accepting on behalf of Danny Fisher Sr. is his wife Julie and Jim Van Landingham.
Thank you and good evening, everyone. I'm sorry. I've been honored to accept this award for Danny, which he never would have expected. He was a very humble and plain person. Danny's family and friends were much appreciative of this recognition, of which he certainly is deserving. Thank you to all making this possible, and surely I do not know all the names of those responsible for making this happen. But to those I have personally spoken with, Jim Van Landingham, William Lawson, Bill Russell, and also many thanks to Coach Bob Budlove for his many hours of coaching and for recognizing Danny's potential, talent, and athleticism. Danny played and followed baseball, basketball, football, but golf he loved. It was his favorite sport, and it challenged him. He loved it from the first time he played it until the last time he played it, which was the day before he went to his eternal heavenly home with Jesus. He grew up without advantages and often without necessities. Danny's dad worked in golf courses in high school around Redwood, where he also played a little and made extra money caddying, finding, cleaning, and selling used golf balls. The family came to Petersburg when Danny was 4 months old due to his dad's job transfer. As a boy of 10 or 11, Danny would go with his dad to a 9-hole golf course on the outskirts of Petersburg, Brickwood, and occasionally go also to Lee Park. Danny played a bit, but observed everything, and was given a golf club here and there, usually from someone who bought a new one and gave the old one to him. He played with mismatched clubs, but carefully cleaned them after playing every time he played, and he did this his entire life. In my mind's eye, I can see his hands holding his golf clubs and holding his cloths and cleaning them. They were his tools, and he loved them too. He loved his equipment. That might sound silly, but he did. He respected the game of golf, the history of it, the rules of it, the discipline. He loved the game, and he loved the course itself. No matter what course he played on, he loved it. He enjoyed it, the landscape, the design of it. He would talk about his clubs and the geography of the golf course. Things that I really wasn't interested in all the time. You know, the loft of a golf club did not mean much to me, but it meant a lot to him. It was not unusual for him to play 27 holes, and then for 2 more hours practice chipping, putting, driving, whatever aspect he thought needed work, he worked on it. It looked like work to me, but to him it was pure enjoyment. As passionate as he was about golf, he was about life. When our children were growing up, whatever sports season it was, he coached Little League, baseball, football, basketball, girls softball, and basketball. And yes, he took them to the golf course too. We had a rich and full life. On Sundays, our family attended church and spent time together. He loved the Lord and lived loving his neighbor as the Bible tells us to do. There is, in my opinion, no way that I can convey to those here who did not know him, who you missed. But suffice it to say, Danny Lee Fisher Sr. made our world a loving and wonderful place. He was an encourager, unselfish, patient, and had a sense of humor that was off the charts. He went out of his way to help others. If there were a husband and a father's Hall of Fame, he would be in that too. This recognition is a blessing to us and will serve to enhance his legacy for myself, his children Danny and Mitzi, and his grandsons Cameron, Bailey, Luke, and Jax. I pray that each of you have a Danny Fisher in your life. Just one more tidbit. Danny passed on August 18th, 2005 with a handicap of 4. Again, thank you. Danny's former Petersburg High School teammate and one of those responsible for this induction would like to say a few words from his perspective. Thank you again. Jim Van Landingham will speak now.
As Julie just said, I'm Jim Van Lanningham. I was on the golf team with Danny Fisher in high school. I do want to point out our coach, Bob Budlove, who's here tonight. He's right over here on my left. And I'm not going to tell how old Bob is, but he's got a birthday coming up in June. As Sean said, Danny Fisher was the best individual golfer, not necessarily the best team he ever had, but the best individual golfer he had. Bob Budlove is also in the Hall of Fame as a coach for the 66 BHS football team that was inducted in 18. In the spring of 1966, our golf team had that match with Meadowbrook. It was actually a tri-match. Benedictine was the other team that was in the match too. We were big-time underdogs. And Lanny and Bobby Watkins were on that team. Lanny Watkins was already a superstar at that point in time, but we had Danny Fisher. So, as you heard from Sean, the accolades for Lanny Watkins, well, they're all true. Matter of fact, he won the PGA, which is being played right now, or here, down in South Carolina. Danny beat Lanny that day 2.5 to 1/2. Our team won 9.5 to 8.5. That was a huge upset. We're still talking about it 50 plus years later. But one thing I did that Julie doesn't know about and the kids and family that are here, I reached out to Lanny Watkins. And I couldn't just pick up the phone and call Lanny. That's not going to happen. So through channels, I got through to Lanny and just asked for some remarks from him about that day and that match. And this is what Lanny Watkins wrote back. I remember Danny Fisher being a very nice guy and a very good and accomplished golfer. The match we had with Petersburg was quite a long time ago, and I know Meadowbrook lost. I don't remember playing poorly. What I do remember is Danny playing very well. I know we tied on one side and the match went to the end. Danny never faltered. I always enjoyed playing with him. A tough man to beat and a great competitor. I am sure his election into the Petersburg Sports Hall of Fame is well deserved and probably overdue. I miss those days and those matches. The best time of my life. Lanny Watkins. That was Danny Fisher he was talking about. Thank you.
The next member of the 2020 class has contributed to Petersburg athletics in many different ways, and tonight he receives the highest honor, Wallace Johnson, Jr. Wallace is a Petersburg native and a member of the 1973 class of Petersburg High School. He was a 2-year letter winner in football, but it was what he did away from the field that has left a lasting legacy even to this day. Known by many in Petersburg as Coach Butterbean, Wallace coached sports for over 38 years. That includes 23 years of coaching recreational football and basketball, and was an assistant at Petersburg High for 14 seasons. It has been Wallace's mission to help the youth here in Petersburg. He would use his own personal funds to drive kids to and from different sporting events here in the area, and also provided financial, spiritual, and social assistance to as many kids in the area as possible. He would give chances to kids who might not have received an opportunity because of grades, attendance, or other factors. Coach would become a father figure to those athletes who didn't have a male presence in their home. Wallace gave hope to the hopeless, love to the unlovable, and encouragement to the discouraged. And because of everything he's given to this city, it's my pleasure to say the newest member of the Petersburg Athletics Hall of Fame is Wallace Johnson, Jr. Accepting on his behalf are two people, Ronald Johnson and a former member or past member of the Petersburg Athletics Hall of Fame and current AD at Hopewell, Kerry Gray.
coach. When I say this, I don't want nobody to beat me up after this. I coached 19 years at Phoebus High School, 7 state championships. And I want to tell you something. I met Wallace Butterbean through recreational football. Now, y'all say Wallace got his print on Petersburg. I have to tell you, he's down in the Tidewater area as well. We put together what they call the All-Star game. He brought kids from Petersburg down to Garden Hole Park in Hampton. And we named it the Friendship Bowl. Kids had a blast. And every kid got a trophy. It was great. I went to the stand one day to pick up the trophies, and I looked over in the empty field, and kids from Petersburg and kids from Hampton were playing a pickup game. What happened? What happened, ACW? Do we see that now? Very rare. We have to do better. My job, I was juvenile counselor for 25 years in the city of Newport News. If anybody know about Newport News, I was down the bottom, East End. The rough part, yes. My wife used to pray for me when I leave and pray for me when I get back. But his passion is like mine. It's about the kids. It's about children. We talk athletics and we tell kids, you're going to be the next Ronald Curry or whatever, but we forget one thing. How are your grades? How is your character? Character is built, and I tell all the students, character is built when nobody's looking. What are you doing when nobody's paying attention? Because it's going to come out. Y'all know that. It's going to come out sooner or later. But Bean would come down and he would call me every doggone day. Ron, what you doing? I said, Bean, I'm tired, man. It's coming football practice. Send me some plays. I said, Bean, come on, man. He loved Petersburg and he loved Petersburg High School. Whenever I got a chance, I would come down and talk to the guys and watch and do. But he's the man, and he's my brother. I love him. His family, we're just like my family. They come down, we hang out, we eat, but that came from him. That came from him. And there's another hero in this story. His wife. Can we give her a hand? Remarkable. Just like my wife. And say this, and I had some stuff written down, but I'm not good with that. The thing about football, and I don't know whether anybody realized, especially in high school, your day is done. My wife used to kiss me at the end of July and say, I see you Christmas. Seriously. Because that's where, am I right? That's where it works. She's back there, she'll tell you. And she would take care of everything. I would go to work, I had to be at my desk about 9 o'clock-ish. I'll work, and fortunately, my director understood everything. And I would get off at 3. Get over to Phoebus High School, because practice started at 4. Change up. Stay on the field until about 5, 6, maybe 7, depending on what kind of mood we're in. And then go home, eat a dinner. She might keep it warm, she may not. But then I'll go in my little room that she had set up, and I would work on football stuff till 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. That's tough, only to get up the next day and do the same thing. So that's tough. But Bean did it, I did it, and Wallace, my dog, I love him. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. I promise I won't be long like I was the last time. I'm the person that he gave hope to the hopeless. I'm that kid that Bean was my father. You know, we spent a lot of time in Blandford. When I moved from Blandford to AP Hill, Bean would take me home, pick me up, feed me, bring me back and forth to William and Mary. Always encouraged me, always asked me about my grades. You know, I can honestly say, without a shadow of a doubt, he's probably given more to Petersburg athletics than anybody I know. And he's still giving to Petersburg athletics right now. There's not a phone call. There's not a phone call that I have with Bean to this day that he doesn't say something about Petersburg athletics. So Bean, I want to tell you it's well deserved. You know, I'm glad you had this opportunity for this moment. Butchie, I love you. You put up with a whole lot of us. And I mean, you cooked some meals that you weren't supposed to cook, but we thank you for it. And that's what this moment is about. It's about reaching back and giving to others and giving other people a chance. And because Wallace Johnson did that, you know, I've been able to do some things in life, some great things in life, but I had the privilege and the honor to stand on the shoulders of a giant, Wallace Johnson Jr. Thank you so much.
I was told by Wallace Johnson of Calvin Langford to please stand up. And his brother as well. Or son, I'm sorry. Kendall as well. Getting a little old, I didn't hear that exactly right. All right, our next inductee tonight was a standout football player that became a college record holder for nearly 40 years, Mr. George Leonard. George is a member of the Petersburg High School class of 1976, a 3-year letter winner of the Petersburg varsity football team after one season at Peabody Junior High. During the 75 season, George was named team captain and led the team in rushing. He was also voted to the All-State, All-Central District, and Central Region teams. George was selected to play on the All-State football team, received the Most Valuable Player and Most Athletic Player award, and was a member of the 1976 High School East-West All-Star team. After graduation, George made the short trip to Virginia State University, where the accomplishments followed. He was named Freshman Player of the Year after the 1976 season. In 1977, he was named CIAA Player of the Year. George was named to the NAIA District 19 squad after his junior season in 1978, and he capped his career by becoming VSU's all-time rushing leader, a record that stood until 2017 when Trent Cannon, now the Carolina Panthers, broke it. He also played in the Black College All-Star Game. He was inducted into the Virginia State University Hall of Fame in 1991. After college, George became a captain in the Army, served as a platoon leader, staff officer, commander, and instructor, and will contribute to the improvements of the Supply Procedures Program. Thank you for your service with that. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member into the Petersburg Athletics Hall of Fame, Mr. George Leonard.
First of all, I'd like to give honor to God
life, health, strength, and a little bit of talent that he did give me. I also like to thank my mom, which is sitting here on the front row. She's still giving orders. Okay. I said I'd like to thank my mother, which is sitting here on the front row. My mom is 90 years old. I'd also like to thank my teachers and anybody else, my teachers, my coaches, my teammates, Butterbean, and anybody else that had contributed to me being here today or my career. When I was 10 years old, my father passed. We used to live in North Carolina, so we came to Petersburg. And there was in Carolina at that time, the only thing we played was baseball and basketball. So I didn't know anything about football. So I ran into a person that has been really impactful, Coach Jordan. We used to call him Buzzer. And the reason that he's real impactful in my life is that he was very patient. He realized that I didn't know anything about football. He also realized that, he was the person that, just kind of worked with all the kids in the neighborhood. He was a protector. He also made playing football and learning fun. And he kind of protected us. You know how cruel some kids can be, if you can't play as well as they can, or if you don't know anything about it. And one of the things that kind of sticks out for me is that, like I said, I didn't know that much about football. So I was, I was out practicing, and the first thing I learned is score a touchdown. So whoever get the ball, they run the ball, score a touchdown. So I got the ball and I ran, scored a touchdown, but I ran the wrong way. So kids teased me about it, but coach kind of made sure that we weren't bullied or picked on. So that kind of carried all the way through. There's another couple of people that was inspirational in my life, which is Mom. She's full of one-liners, and we're trying to capture all those as we're going along here. And the main thing that she was saying that if you start something, you're gonna finish it. You might not do it anymore, but if you start it, you're gonna finish it. So anything that we started, we make sure we finish. Her little saying was, quitters never win and winners never quit. Also, a lot of times, sometimes people say that they can't do some things. How do you know you can do it? This is what she's saying. How do you know you can't do it if you don't try? So she kind of encouraged us to continue to try, and then after you try, and if you don't like it, or then if you can't do it, then you accept it, the fact that you can, and as long as you've given your best. At the end of giving your best, then you accept whatever the results are, and keep it moving. And another thing she used to say all the time to me is, favor ain't fair. That's right. I used to ask, well, why can this person do this? I can't do it. Why do these people have this? Other people don't. And she said to us, hey, look, favor ain't fair. Some have it, some get it, and some don't. And teaching, I've been teaching now for 30 years. And that's one of the things that I've really realized, that favor is not fair. All you do is just do the best you can. to make sure that you're being as fair as you possibly can be. My older brothers, well, let me back up. I have 5 brothers and 3 sisters, okay? So it's 9 of us. And my mom raised all 9 of us. My father died when I was like 10. So she raised all of us there. So and I was right there in the middle. So, I got to watch my brothers, my older brothers and sisters. And I kind of learned from them. So I learned a lot from them, but they weren't the real main person that impacted my life. My high school teacher, Jesse Williams. I guess the reason that he impacted me so much is that he was talking the same stuff that my mom was talking, reinforcing the values that my mom was trying to instill in us. Be responsible, be respectful, do your best, be honest, let your actions speak for you instead of running your mouth all the time. Okay, and the next person is my mentor for life. He couldn't be here today. He's 94 years old. His name is Lieutenant Colonel Jonah McKee. And when I got to college, he kind of took me under his wings and kind of talked me into going into ROTC, and probably, which turned out to be one of the best things that could have happened to me. He was trying to teach me some lessons here, because by the time I graduated from Virginia State, I had the opportunity to play professional football. But since I was committed to ROTC, I was committed to the military, I was trying to get out of it and so forth, and he said, look, hey, you signed up for it, do what you need to do. All right, so I did, and one of the main things I learned is that some structure, some discipline, how to follow, how to lead, all of those things. So after graduating from college, I went in the military for 10 years, yeah. And after leaving the military, the next day I was teaching, So I've been teaching high school for years. I got out of the military one day and I was teaching the next day, So evidently that's where God wanted me to be, So, like I said, that has been one of the most rewarding jobs that I could possibly have. I've always had to work with, at-risk kids, and so those things, a lot of those things that I deal with as far as running interference between the kid, the parent, the system, all those things kind of come natural. Other people look at it as work, but the way we grew up, those things are pretty obvious to me. It's no big deal. And I want to thank my mom. There's a lot of us, and she didn't have a car, but she never missed one football game. Walking from the bottom of Harrison Street to Cameron Field, down the steps, not even understanding the game. The only things I know that she knows now about football is touchdown. And she knows that because I made a lot of them. So, I was going to talk about some of my accolades, but they had already said all those things. All my accomplishments, don't need that. Military, don't need that. Like I say, I've been teaching for the last 30 years. And like I said, that is one of the more rewarding things that I enjoy, and I'm good at it. So I also work with mental health for the last 17 years. So I do some mentoring, some counseling, for this private company along with teaching. So I'm constantly giving back, and I can relate to, all the stuff that Bean was doing for us as we was coming along. I'm a proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. Like I said, I have 5 brothers, 3 sisters. I have two daughters, Tamika and Rashina. They're back there, and my grandbaby, little Lauren. Those are the pride of my life. And to go back to one of the things that my 94-year-old mentor told me is that men take care of their family. Men take care of their family. And that stuck with me, and it's, even though we may not make all the right decisions at the right times, if you're doing it out of love and you're doing the best you can't ask for any more. You really can't, So I want all of my family and everybody that has had anything to contribute in my life, even if it's nothing but a kind word, or you can do it, or all the teachers and all that stuff. I want to really thank you, and I appreciate all those things that you did and all those lessons that I've learned. So thank you.
Earlier this evening, we introduced you to our first golfer that was inducted into the Hall of Fame, the late Danny Fisher Sr. Our next inductee played a major role in the development of the golf team in Petersburg, Mr. Algie Pulley. Algie is a member of the Petersburg High Class of 1958. When Algie arrived at the high school, he was actually a member of the football team. But it was one of his football coaches that suggested the idea of him starting a golf team with head coach Randy Mallory. In 1955, the team was formed, and they competed against schools in the area such as Hopewell, Douglas Freeman, John Marshall, and TJ. Algie would go undefeated during the 55-56 season and was named team captain from 1955 to 1957. During his high school career, Algie competed in several junior golf tournaments throughout the state, such as the Virginia State Junior Championship, the USGA Junior Qualifying, and the Kindredge Invitational, to name a few. He also won the Southside Virginia Men's Tournament and the Mike Wells Invitational. After graduation, Algie attended Florida State on a full golf scholarship, but then transferred to the University of Virginia. He played 3 years with the Cavaliers and was number 1 his last 2 seasons with a handicap of 1. Algie was served with the U.S. Coast Guard after his graduation from UVA. Thank you for your service with that. Once he completed his military commitment, Algie got a job with one of the top golf course architects, Eddie Alt, and had the chance to work with Arnold Palmer to design the Country Club of Woodmore in Washington, D.C. Algie has designed several golf courses around the state to include part of the 9 holes of what is now Dogwood Trace Golf Course here in Petersburg. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to the newest member of the Petersburg Athletics Hall of Fame, Algie Pulley.
Can you hear me? Needless to say, it's indeed an honor to be here with all these special people and reminisce of the foundation of how golf started. And Francis Fenderson, Lewis Weich, and the coach there, Bud Love, all had a role in this, in building the foundation of daring to do it. And God bless us all for daring to do it, and we really appreciate it, and hope everyone can gain from this, and don't hesitate to do something if the opportunity presents itself to you. Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Our next inductee in this year's Hall of Fame class started in the sport with the most members in our hall, but sped past the competition and made school history in the process. James Stiff Sr. James is a member of the Petersburg class of 1981. It was football that was his first love, though. But James chose to test his skills in track and field with head coach John Allen's first team in 1978. That decision paid off with historic results. James showed glimpses of his talent during the Manchester Relays, which was one of the more prestigious meets in the Richmond area at that time. He was a part of the 880 and 440 relay teams that finished first and second, respectively. During the 1979 Central District meet, James was a part of the 880 relay team that finished first and finished second in the 100 and 200-yard dash. In the Central Region meet, James was second in the 100-yard dash and third in the 200. James' junior season was his breakthrough campaign with the Wave. During a meet at John Marshall, he recorded the first sub-10-second 100-yard dash in the Central Region and finished first in the 100-yard dash at a Central District meet that year and won the 100 and 200-yard dash in the Central Region meet. James' senior season, he achieved another historic first in Petersburg High history. During the state championships, he won the 100-meter dash with a time of 10.6 seconds, the first individual athlete in school history to win a state championship. After graduation, James would attend Virginia State University, another Trojan, where he continued his track and field career. In 1983, he was one of the top 5 sprinters on the East Coast that qualified for the Olympic trials in Sacramento, California. Ladies and gentlemen, the newest member of the Petersburg Athletics Hall of Fame, James Stiff Sr.
Good evening. First, I would like to give the glory to God. I was introduced to track and field in 1978 under the coaching of John L. Allen. And that's where my accomplishments began. Track was such an individual sport. You got out of it what you put in it. My acceptance speech tonight is filled with thank yous. I would like to thank my father and my mother, the matriarch, for having me and supporting me in everything I've done in this lifetime. My parents made sure I, or me and my brother, had the best of everything. All my father would say is, Carla, if that's what they need, then you go ahead and get it. My mom is responsible for the slideshow. She cut the articles out of the Richmond Times, Progress Index. At one point in my career, she had me cutting articles. It was like we were double coupon. I want to say thank you to my brother and his wife, Anita. Stand here this evening. They did the leg work. I've always said, let the work I've done speak for me, and they made it speak. Thank you, both. We are the first brother to be inducted into the Petersburg High School Hall of Fame. My daughter tried track, but I told her that she didn't have to do it because she was more of a majorette cheerleader type of person. My son James Jr., JJ, can run 5 or 10 miles like it's nothing. But he also has a promising military career ahead of him. My youngest son, Nicholas, he just runs through the house and just don't know how to slow down. Coach Allen, maybe you can help me out with that. To my kids, I never forced anything on them. I just wanted them to be better. Your dad put in the work, and this is one of the benefits. Thank you to my family, my aunts and uncles, my cousins. And then I see you back there with your son. Because if one couldn't make it to the sporting event, the other one did. It seemed like, you know, they networked. And I see they still doing it now because I see one of my aunts here from Milwaukee. I just want to say thank you. Aunt Gloria, I heard you was pretty fast, didn't you? I want to say thank you to Shannon for not throwing in the towels and helping me with this speech, along with raising my son. Thank you to Ron and Shirley for entrusting me with your daughter, and Cookie and Barbara with my son. Thank you. My saying is, in order to be the best, you gotta beat the best. These two individuals, one of them inspired me, and the other one trained me in track and field. My Uncle Woodrow Jr. Stiff, he's the fastest base runner I've ever seen. He gave pitchers and catchers, well, I guess I can say hell. Because if he made it to first base, he was guaranteed to make it to third. I challenged him to a race on my grandmother's lane. Well, it's driveway now. With James Jones as the star. Running up the lane, I pulled out ahead. He grabbed his leg, caught a cramp. I won. To Coach Allen, the one who trained me. Who is Coach Allen now? The one who's trained me and taught me everything that he knew. And racing him in the 40-yard dash and winning was the pinnacle of my career. But John, Coach pulled up too. I can't remember what leg it was, but he pulled up too, I won. Coach Allen, to the taping of my wrist, to the running of the heels, and the running of it down Johnson Road, I want to say thank you. Thank you to William Lawson III. I have memories of your father attending my track event. Thank you, Sheriff Vanessa Crawford, for taking the chance on me. And Rita Hopper, we go way back to the George Wells days. I would like to thank the whole Hall of Fame committee for this honor. This is something that I won't ever forget. May God richly bless everyone within the sound of my voice and beyond. Thank you.
Should have had that in my notes. First brother combination to be in the Petersburg. I saw the last name, but I didn't connect them. Also, both, were you in the VSU Hall of Fame too? Not yet? We'll get you in there. Put them both in the Hall of Fames. We have one inductee left in the class of 2020, a career that was destined for greatness at the highest level in one sport, but chose a different path of success close to home. Now I'm speaking of the late Fred Swearingen Jr. Nicknamed Sonny, Fred was a member of the Petersburg class of 1955 and was a star athlete in football, basketball, where he was co-captain, and baseball. In his final basketball game with Petersburg, Fred set 2 school records against Hermitage, to include one that made the most free throws in a game. That record stood until another Hall of Famer, Moses Malone, broke it. He was named Best Athlete during his senior season. Fred played football at the University of North Carolina after graduation. He played both left guard and center. Fred was selected to both the All-ACC and All-State teams in 1957 and 58. He was also an All-American Honorable Mention in 1958. That same season, he was selected to play in the College All-Star Game at the Orange Bowl. In 1959, he won the top UNC Grid Award for Outstanding Player of the Year. After his senior season, Fred was drafted in the 21st round by the New York Giants, but never suited up for the G-Men. Instead, he returned to Colonial Heights and helped his father build a successful real estate business. During Fred's time with the company, he built over 700 custom homes in the Tri-Cities and built some of the first shopping strip mall, commercial buildings, and apartment buildings along the boulevard in Colonial Heights. Fred also played a major role in building the new YMCA here in Petersburg and also served as the president. Sonny passed away in 2017, but his legacy in and around the Tri-Cities lives on. Accepting on his behalf is his wife, Charlotte.
I'm a little short. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry that Sonny couldn't be here for this. He would be so honored. But I have his sweater. This is his letter sweater from his senior year. And he has a lot of memorabilia that we still keep. And his mother was incredible in keeping scrapbooks. I brought 2 of them with me for some of you who might be interested in those years of 54 and 55. She kept every newspaper article that was ever out. We have 10 albums that she kept of all the newspaper articles when he was at the University of North Carolina. So she did quite a job, and we enjoyed looking at those so much, and he did too. One of the things I wanted to share with you, he was very athletic. I mean, who else could be captain of the football team, the basketball team, and the baseball team all in your senior year? I mean, he was quite the talented athlete. One of the things that he was so proud of, as he mentioned earlier, was when he broke those records at that basketball game. And that stood for so many years. And I can remember coming home one night, and he was sitting reading this was, I don't know how many years ago, but he was in the den in his easy chair reading the progress index. Had this big smile on his face, and he said, "You're not going to believe what happened." And I said, "What?" He said, "You know that record that I held at Petersburg High School for the basketball game?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, guess who just broke it?" And I said, "I don't know who." And he said, "Moses Malone." He was so proud that he was the one that broke that record. So he was quite happy with that. I think the reason that he never went to play for the New York Giants, we were just getting married. I I wasn't from Petersburg. I missed all of the Petersburg high school. I'm from North Carolina, as you can probably tell, still by my accent. But I was a cheerleader at UNC, and we knew Sonny's name because we cheered for Sonny a lot when his name was called out. But we were getting ready to get married right before he was to leave and to go with the Giants. And we just kept talking about, whether he should do it or not. And neither one of us, being Southerners, wanted to move to cold New York State and start our marriage. So that was kind of a downer. And then that was before they paid you millions of dollars like they do now. He was going to get like $4,700 for the whole year to play, and I was going to get like $2,600 to be a teacher in Petersburg. So, that didn't seem quite right. And then he said to me one day, I've been playing football and all these sports all this time, and I have not lost a tooth. I haven't broken a bone. He said, I think I better stop while I'm ahead. So that ended the football career. After graduation from UNC, he and his dad, of course, started the building business. But he still continued with his sports. He played basketball, I think y'all call it pickup, on Tuesdays at lunchtime at the Y. He also played racquetball. He was a very good racquetball player. In fact, he won the championship his senior year in racquetball at UNC. So he continued that for many, many years, as long as he was healthy. While I was president of the Y, he also was instrumental in helping them find the building and the lot and all for that. And he was very proud of that. He coached for our church. He coached the young boys softball teams. Of course, later on, his sports changed to fishing and hunting, which he really loved. And, of course, golf. Isn't that what we always do when later in life? And he was fairly good at golf. He enjoyed that. But most of all, I want to say that my husband was a man of good character. He had good morals, and his love for God and family was just tops. He loved people. He had this contagious personality. We used to say he could sell snow to the snow Eskimos. He was so good at that. He loved his family, and I want to introduce his very small family that we had. But my daughter Sandy and her husband Jeff. And also my daughter Tammy. Would you stand, Tammy? When we were first married, we kept talking about what we wanted as a family. And of course, if you're an athlete, you want to have, male kids. And so we kept saying, we should have about 4 or 5 boys, so we can get them all involved and I can teach them all this. And I said, yeah, that sounds great. So I remember when she was our firstborn, he kept saying, that's okay, she'll maybe do something else. But then later on, when the second child came, she also was not a son, but he loved his 2 girls. And Sandy was a graduate also of UNC, and she was quite a competitive swimmer at the Y and in high school. Now she helps run his real estate business since he has passed. And Tammy lives with me and has her dad's sense of humor and an excellent memory. I just want to say what a wonderful father he was. Sometimes athletic-minded men have a hard time and are uncomfortable raising a special needs daughter, but not my husband. He spent many special hours with her and always included her in his activities. Even when he was building houses and he would meet his foreman in the morning for breakfast at a restaurant, lots of times after Tammy was out of school, he would take her with him and she helped him with so many things. So I guess I would like to say that I really feel that he deserved this award, not only because of his athletic ability, but because he was such a good father and such a wonderful husband. So I hope that you will remember him not only for his athletic abilities, but also a man of outstanding character. He was one who loved his family, he loved his customers, he loved his friends, and he always did the best he could to inspire them, and he always inspired us. In closing, I'd like to remind us all that in sports, you won't win every game, but you can use your God-given talents and abilities to play the very best you can in any area of life. And in life, if you don't always have things to go your way, no matter how hard you try the game, just remember that to love, respect, and to use hard work for your family and your fellow man is the best way to play life on planet Earth. And I learned that from my husband, and I so wish he could be here. One of the things that I used to hear him say so much, and I leave that with you tonight, it's not if you win or lose the game, it's how you played the game. So I wish that for all of you, that you will play the game of life, that will be wonderful for you, that God will be big in your life, and that you will let him guide you. And just thank you so much for giving my sonny, Spongy, as some of y'all knew him in high school, this wonderful honor. Thank you so very much.
Can we give the class of 2020 another round of applause? All right, we have some closing remarks coming up from one of the members of the Hall of Fame committee, Coach Billy Russell. And if there are any more Hall of Fame committee members, if y'all can please stand and be recognized by the audience this evening. You can give them a round of applause. This was the group that made the final decisions as to who would be inducted into this year's Hall of Fame. They had a very difficult job, a very demanding job, but I think they made some very wonderful decisions this year for our class of 2020. And here's one of the members, Coach Billy Russell.
What a year of adaptation. Congratulations to this committee. They have done a super job, led by Bill, but a lot of help through the others, and just tremendous job with this adaptation, as well as all that they do. I'm just pleased to be a small part of it. Last year we had a swimmer, more than a swimmer, but anyway, a swimmer. And this year we've added 2 golfers, and that's super to include a little bit more here and there. I don't know where else, maybe tennis. I'm thinking where else we can go. But, you know, we heard many of these folks tonight, talk about rising to the occasion and against odds. And certainly this group, all of them have had their share of that. So congratulations to them on their accomplishments later in life. All of them had a spirit of thankfulness, if you notice. A very important role of fathers, coaches, and I think I took some pretty good notes here. Their families, all of them thank their families, their coaches. I know that all of you are proud of them, and so important. I think of the youth today, and where a lot of these remarks, I wish they would almost record them and put them in classrooms. The opportunities that athletics led to for those athletes tonight, incredible, made ways for a better life in a lot of cases. Also, they they turned around and you know, the doing for others, Butterbean, all of our athletes, giving back, so to speak, making those lives of youngsters better, incredible. And faith in Jesus, that was another a note tonight. Morals, character. I'm kind of going along here. The time spent in their craft, incredible. And that's what it takes. All of you know that. Got to put time into it. Give your best. I've heard several people say, give your best. That's something that we were taught, I think probably everybody in this room, and needs to be addressed today more and more. Give your best. All the time. Whatever you do, give your best. So incredible group here tonight, and thank you for making the time to come. What a pleasure. What a pleasure. All those remarks. All of them. I appreciate your attendance. The support of the Hall of Fame is incumbent upon folks like yourselves for all the great support, and we thank you for that support. And also, we look forward to that continued support. I know people are going to have nominations and so forth, but again, you're coming here tonight under the circumstances, just great, super, and thank you again. Again, thank you so much, and committee and athletes, congratulations, and let's keep it up.
All right, to lead us with the benediction, Petersburg legend and the current boys basketball coach at Colonial Heights High School, John Thomas Jr.
It's always good to be home. And it's always good to do something for the benefit of Petersburg High School. Crimson Wave to the day I die. I may coach in Colonial Heights, but I am a Crimson Wave. From the very inside to the very outside. We may be in different places, just know that because of Petersburg High School and Crimson Wave, we are planting those seeds that we learned here. And we're spreading it to all of the world, everywhere we go. Great things happen in Petersburg. I said great things happen in Petersburg. You turn the TV on, you don't hear those things, but you will hear it tonight as you see the representation set at these tables. This year, last year, and the years before, great things happen in Petersburg. I'm honored to give the benediction and to bless the food, but I can't go without saying this. All these years, I never knew your name was James, Bonzo. Oh my goodness, they said Jay. I said, Jay, I was like Bonzo. Bonzo, congratulations. George, man, I watched you run that football and I was scared to go out for football because of you. This guy could run over a brick wall. He was a phenomenal athlete, and his brother has impacted my life forever. And I thank you, and I thank Mom too. I've been knowing forever. The struggles, the same road we had to walk, so much alike. We thank God for it. Butterbean, you know you've been in my life all my life. I'm grateful. AB, I still remember Coach calling out to play. AB! I wanted to be a Crimson Wave because of people like this. And year after year, a precedent is set because of people that young people see playing or wearing a uniform or walking a hallway, and they want to emulate. Never stop sowing the seed because God promises to bless the seed. And I'm grateful. Darryl, you and I, we know. We came up at the same time and we had the same dream. Darryl had a whole lot more talent than me, but we had the same dream. And every game, with about a minute to go in the game, we would hear something that sounded like this. George, you're going to remember this. Over my head, I hear victory in the air. Over my head, I hear victory in the air. Over my head. there must be a way somewhere under my feet. There's a team that can't be beat under my feet. There's a team that can't be beat under my feet. There's a team that can't be beat. Oh, there must be a way somewhere. Yeah, I made this dream. And because of the dream, I'm a principal today. Come on, man. We bless God. Let's bow our heads and pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you. Precious name of Jesus Christ. Lord, we bless you today. We thank you for every athlete that's being honored today. Lord, we thank you for the seeds that they have sown in the lives of so many. Lord, we pray that you will bless them mightily, bless their families, bless everything that they put their hands to. Bless this committee that honors this occasion every year. Bless all the who are here today. Bless the city of Petersburg as we continue to grow toward excellence as we serve you. Lord, we ask that you would take us home safely, keep our home safe in our absence, but bless the food that we're about to receive. Lord, let it be nutrition for our bodies, and let it cause us the greatest life we've ever going to see in the years to come. Bless this occasion, in Jesus' name, amen.
All right, before we go, just want to let you know, please have your dinner tickets available. The guests on this side of the room, we're going to ask you to get in line first, head toward our hostesses, social distance, have to mention that term again, in the back where the double doors are, to receive your meal. Thank you everybody for coming this night, and hopefully we'll see everybody again next year.